Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron Podcast. All wings report in. This is Andy, Pod Job, standing by.
This is Tracy, Pod Tracer, standing by.
Jason, Children of a Lesser Pod, standing by.
And Rodney, Podfather, I guess, standing by.
Yeah.
All ships to attack formation. Mission objectives to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from the galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes a May 4th roundup. Also, finally getting around to the Bad Batch series finale. And also part of that May 4th roundup, Star Wars Night at Disneyland. But for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, a.k.a. the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy, also known as Hot Nerd Girl, and I'm tired because I just drove to Arizona and back.
I'm Jason, Beyond Forever Studios. Oh, my hat keeps disappearing. Now, what am I?
No, Jar Jar.
What is this? Yeah.
Jar Jar is winking.
Jar Jar is winking at you. He is the ghost of Jar Jar. Wow, his nostrils are going all funky. So, but yes, that's me. Hello, boy and girl.
Hello, and I'm Rodney Cahuto. I am producer of Pod Squadron, also one of the owners, co-founders of Geeks Network. So
Woo!
decided to join in because we're talking a little bit about Star Wars Night, and I, along with Jason, went, and so I'll be joining for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, we are just one squad in this fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube and on Facebook. You can find all the other great shows like Geek Beast and Trek Table, S-Wiles to Attack Position. We're going in. Okay, so this is round 2. This is us trying to correct correct our issues that we had last week. When we were trying to
technical issues. Those are different from our normal issues.
Yes, plenty of issues I can't deal with, but issues we can deal with are the Star Wars one. So we're a little bit late in the game, but hopefully that means we can still talk about all this stuff again. So let's get into it. Of course, we just passed May the 4th. This is a very ripe time for Star Wars news and other things. Of course, today is rather significant actually because today is George Lucas's birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday, George! He is 80. The man is 80 now.
80. Wow, he looks great for 80.
When 80 you become.
Yeah, I look terrible. Look at me.
I feel like 80 is the infinity and beyond age.
Or it's just the emoji face where you're like, oh.
Oh yeah, or like sunglasses sideways.
Oh, that works too. But your mouth's still. Yeah, so happy birthday, George Lucas.
The reason why we're all here. Right?
Reason why we're all
right.
Here. So let's talk about some of the stuff that came out in the last week. So first of all, we got a little bit of key art from the Acolyte. Well, we got a few things. We got a trailer, we got a release date, and we got key art.
What's the release date?
The release date, I believe, is June 24th, I believe. So that is coming up very soon. They still have yet to have a release date for the Skeleton Crew, but that's still presumably coming out later this year, probably around the holidays, like November-ish.
June 4th is Acolyte.
June 4th. Okay, yeah, I thought
June 4th.
June 24th.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
good.
Really,
that's soon.
Yeah, it's coming really fast.
So we will definitely be digging into that. What are your guys' impressions of the latest trailer and new footage?
Looks good.
Yeah.
I just went and saw Phantom Menace with some friends like 2 nights ago, and at the end they had a scene from it that they're all like, stick around and see an exclusive look for the Acolyte. And so it was a scene with Carrie-Anne Moss fighting that evil force user is what she called it. It's like, there's a rogue force user in this bar. And it was very Star Wars Matrix.
So is it the masked one with the red lightsaber? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was a cool little scene. It was like 3 minutes, and then they showed the trailer that just came out after. And but yeah, it was a fun little scene. So yeah.
Now, and that's a pretty good segue to of course the Phantom Menace is re-released in theaters. So you still have a chance to get your cinematic experience on with that, and of course then catch the footage from Acolyte after the film. Actually, Jason, so how was that experience seeing the movie in the theaters again?
It was great. We were the only ones in the theater.
So are you serious?
Yeah, it was me, my wife, and 2 of our friends, and we were the only ones there. And so
was it the first night, or has it been out for a bit?
No, it had been out for like a week or more, maybe. Yeah, so whoever I probably wanted to see it saw it already, but
I heard it made a lot of money.
I mean, it released the May 4th weekend. But yeah, I think it's in there. It's in the tail end of its release window.
It was nice. I literally hadn't seen it since I think I bought it on Blu-ray the first time it came out.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it had been a good few years. So it was cool to see. You know, not as bad as I remember. And Jar Jar's awesome. Go watch it. Get your Jar Jar on.
I gotta say, like, I mean, it does hold up.
Yeah.
I think, and
yeah.
It's like, yeah, there's hokey stuff, but I mean, you know,
I mean,
there is something to be said for, you know, he's been quoted as saying, you know, he filmed them almost intentionally like silent films, right? So that if you just wanted to hear the John Williams score and cut out all the dialogue, the storytelling should still be clear. You know, that's also, you know, one of his stylistic things in terms of you know, having environments that are so distinct that you always know where they are, right?
I agree with that 100% because at one point the sound did go out and I literally turned to my wife and I was like, I still know exactly what's going on. So whether I'd seen it or not, I'm like, I can still follow this. So
I have a 22-year-old cousin who is very, very into Star Wars and swordsmanship. So he does, you know, like full-on lightsaber battles and things like that.
wow.
And he was explaining to me about how his favorite movies are the prequels.
Really?
And I'm
'Cause
like,
of
well,
the
that
si-
makes
'cause
sense.
of
You
the-
grew up
Yeah.
with that. And of course, like Darth Maul and all that. So
yep.
Maltov Dojo Rat wants to know if it's an extended cut or the original release that's in the theater.
It's the original release, but it has that I didn't notice it, but I read an article. It has that James Cameron like AI clarity filter on it, so things just look a little too perfect. You know, like how
Oh,
True
yeah.
Lies and The Abyss look a little too smooth. And you can definitely see it on some of the CG. It's like, oh, that is clearly CG. Has maybe in 99 it looked a little more realistic. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean it is probably the best it's ever looked.
Wow.
Which is not necessarily a good thing depending on your view on that kind of thing. But
I mean,
but no, it looked great.
Seeing the Darth Maul fight alone is probably worth it.
Oh yeah.
You know? Just
we
just
scream. You know,
totally worth
he
it.
gets chopped, and then spoilers. Yes, he falls. And then I was just like, he'll be back with spider legs.
That fight scene needed to be much longer, though.
Oh yeah.
I will die
Agreed.
on that hill.
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we hummed Duel of the Fates, so that was fun. It was nice having the theater to ourselves. We could just be like, you know, but it was good times. It was fun to see.
That sounds like fun.
Yep.
All right, on to some other releases. So, who all saw the Apple iPhone commercial?
I did because I made you guys send me the link.
Yeah.
I watched it after you mentioned it last week because I had not seen it. So yes, yeah.
So
apparently I know a lot of people who are in that commercial, by
There's
the
a
way.
lot.
So many of my friends were posting, they're like, you can see me for a split second right there.
They had to film that at a con or something because they were just like there were a lot of cosplayers in that. And it was like, yeah, I was really, really impressed by how many people they got. But of course, you know, they got Apple money, right? So they probably.
So yeah, so this is
everybody.
if you have not seen, Apple released an iPhone 15 commercial on just before May the 4th, which features a cosplayer in full Mandalorian regalia, and
Boba Fett isn't he in Boba Fett?
Is he specifically Boba Fett or is he?
Yeah, I think he's specifically Boba Fett. Yeah.
Okay. And it's just kind of him going around through his day and eventually using the Find My Friends function like a bounty hunter tracker.
Because everybody's in costume and nobody can see.
Yeah, he's trying to find his friends. Yeah.
It's very cute, very well done. You know, kind of a little mini short film. So check that out if you have not already. We did talk about this a little bit already, but Skeleton Crew gets a release date for December 2024. Did they actually give us a date though, or is it just still December?
It's somewhere in December. There was speculation that it's going to be around Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
They usually do some kind of Christmas release.
Yeah, and then I think we talked a little bit about this. I don't know if we talked about this or maybe it was on Bingeworthy, but there is speculation that I saw that the primary kids, as Lexi called them, are the kids that are going to be in Skeleton Crew. So
Wait, the what? The
Say that
Oh, the
again?
primary.
the primary kids. Remember, Lexi called the kids the kids that were
Right.
in prison.
Oh,
with Omega.
oh, yeah,
She called
yeah.
them the primary kids because they're all like primary
Yeah.
colors, and there's speculation that those are going to be the kids in Skeleton Crew
Interesting.
because remember it's supposed to be like Jude Law's character with these kids like Goonie-esque, right? So I don't know. I just
Yeah.
wanted to throw that out there because I've been seeing that quite a bit lately on the Star Wars Reddits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting. Yeah, I can't remember if they actually stated like what era this is supposed to take place in. I know it's supposed to somehow tie in with Ahsoka, but no one's really sure like how. Like it could just be that they're in Peridia, the Peridia galaxy, or something. But very interesting. We shall see. Okay, let's see here. What else? We also have a bunch of releases from Lego. Lego has a bunch of new sets that are out. The Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, a 4-piece animated. Oh wait, no, this is an animation.
Yeah, have you
Well,
guys
they
saw
also
this?
released some sets, huh?
Have you guys seen this?
I have not.
I saw a picture.
So
Lego
Like
Star
a-
Wars Rebuild the Galaxy,
Yeah.
a 4-piece animated special coming to Disney Plus on September 13th. So this is not out yet. It's coming out in September.
so
Interesting.
what's really interesting about that is it's almost like what if. It's almost like a what if thing. They said it's non-canon, and I think it's like a parallel universe. But they showed Darth Jar Jar.
That's right.
Jar Jar.
Yeah.
He's
They
a
do.
kick your ass.
Yeah. So they showed Darth Jar Jar. So they're like leaning heavily into that whole internet rumor that Jar Jar was supposed to be a Sith. All
That's
and that
pretty
he,
great.
and that he was so they leaning into that and they showed him in the trailer and it was like I was like, oh my god, they actually went there.
Apparently also starring in this cast is Gaten Mata. Am I saying his name right? Gaten Matarazzo.
Oh, Dustin
from Stranger Things?
Yeah,
Stranger
for
Things.
Stranger
That's
Things,
right,
yeah.
Matarazzo.
He's the one that was missing his 2 front teeth.
Right. And I presume Ahmed Best is returning to play Darth Jar Jar. Yeah, there was also an interview with him too, really wanting to come back to Keller and Beck. Like he was, his wish list would to be like a Star Wars John Wick movie, but with Keller and Beck, no dialogue, just him,
Killing people.
and lightsabers.
Yeah. I'd be for that.
He's actually been up for a few local theater awards for fight choreography.
Who?
Ahmed Best.
Ahmed Best. Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's pretty active in the local LA theater community out here. And yeah, actually the year that I was nominated for an ovation, he was my competition.
Oh really?
Oh,
Oh wow, small world.
Somebody posted that they went upstairs in their gym and Ray Park was up there doing like fight choreography, like lightsaber fight scenes just in the last week.
I did see that too, yeah.
Great. Okay. Next up, we're gonna talk a little bit
That's
about
great.
Star Wars at Disneyland. So of course, as you know, Disneyland has the Galaxy's Edge. They also have a few different attractions there in Tomorrowland, but they also started doing these specialty kind of like nighttime parties where they'll close the park down a little bit early, like around 8 o'clock, and then have a exclusive like ticketed event, where they start they add in like specialty food and sometimes some merch releases as well as additional characters and stuff. And Jason and Rodney, do you want to report back on what you guys saw?
Yeah, sure. Jason, I'd love to hear Jason's take first.
I mean, I think I had mentioned this last week, but like, I wanted to try to get in a lot of the photo ops, but when we went to the first one we wanted to hit, which is they had an Ewok setup. And I was like, oh, I want to get a picture with an Ewok because they're awesome, Tracy.
Yes.
And we walked over there like even before the costume character was there, and the line was literally longer than Rise of the Resistance. It was like I was like, there's no way in hell I'm waiting this long for a guy in an Ewok costume. So I did like none of the photo ops, and we just went on all the rides. And I think the longest we waited for anything was like 15 minutes.
Okay, no, but were the Ewoks like short or?
Yes.
Like...
Yes, it was either a little person or a kid, or I don't know, because they were accurate Ewok size. And that's why I wanted to pick with them, because I'm like, oh wow, they got someone of the right stature for this. And yeah, and then I wanted to try Queen Amidala was in the Fantasyland theater. They like put up a throne for her, and like her line was ridiculous, and I just was like, what is this? I'm like, you should all be in Galaxy's Edge waving your lightsabers like Rodney saw. And and then we got stuck in that, which was a nightmare because I literally was just trying to buy something in the store, and by the time I got out, they had all compiled in front of the Falcon, and like
they were
it was
literally hurting everybody.
Yeah, and it was like a one-way direction, so I got stuck, and they're like, no, you can't go that way, you have to go this way. And I'm like, oh no, I'm trapped in this.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. And so we got stuck like right when they were starting the announcements for that. And yeah, that was basically, me and my wife were there, that was basically our night, was just rides and that. So and my hat.
So see, that's one of the things I didn't do, is I didn't buy any merch. I think I'm gonna try to buy. I think they said, because they think they're having like Season of the Force. It's lasting until June, so there's like all kinds of like Star Wars stuff all over the place.
I bought my Jabba popcorn bucket that laughs.
Jabba the popcorn bucket.
I had
to
buy
talk
that.
about. Yeah,
yeah.
So I wanted to get that, and apparently they sold like a. They sold like a Stormtrooper charred helmet on May the 4th.
Yeah, that was on May the 4th.
Yeah,
like that actually came out that day, and that one that was before
that
I was
limited
there.
release, or
I think it was only on May the 4th.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, was it an actual helmet or a popcorn bucket?
It was
Both.
a popcorn bucket, but it's like charred, like it was like it's
like they just found an old helmet and put popcorn in it.
Oh, like flipped it upside down?
Yeah. It looks great.
Oh, that's cool. See, I would get.
Yeah.
I understand that one.
Really, really good. Like
yeah.
So my experience is a little different, because I knew honestly this was my first time ever doing anything like this, and I was just like, you know what? I gotta do it, like I'm just not getting any younger, and like fuck it, like like
YOLO.
So yeah, I was telling that to Andy.
YOLO with Han Solo.
I was trying to go the same day as you, Jason, but when I went to go get the tickets, it was sold out. And so I was like, I went up on that following Tuesday, the 30th, and I was just like, I didn't even really know.
Trying to meet up with Jason is like two ships crossing in the night.
I know, right? Every time I try, I fail miserably. It's like I don't even exist. So
one year we were able to meet up. 1 year.
1 year. Oh wait, that Comic-Con, right? Yeah. So, but we're trying to make up, and Andy and me literally passed each other. Like I was in the bar, and then like he was there like 5 minutes before me, and I was like, wait a minute, he's posted pictures. I'm like, oh, he's gone. I'm like, oh shit. And so, and I texted him. I'm like, I think you just left, and he's like, oh man. So
I had a similar situation on my night too. Like I posted my picture that I was there, and my caption was, "Hey, my therapist keeps telling me that I need to get in touch with my inner child, so here I am getting in touch with my inner child." And then he was like, "Hey, I'm here too," and I was like, "Hey, let's try to meet up," and there was just no way. And I was like, "Yeah." So, but yeah, it was really interesting, because it was just like, everywhere within the park they had a bunch of different events, right? So like I wasn't even really sure Jason, were you sure of like all the things that they had going on, or like
No, because they give you that little book when you
Mhm.
come in, and like they didn't do that at the last one, to my recollection. So it was like a full map, and like here's where all the food
Yeah.
is, here's where all the photo opportunities are, here's where all the exclusive merch is, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to
Yeah,
get.
there's no way. There was
There's
literally
no
no
way.
way. Like I
Yeah.
looked at the booklet and I was like, okay, I gotta plan this out.
Yeah.
Somewhat of a plan, right?
Yeah.
Like somewhat of a plan because it was like it's only from 9 to 1, right? So I was
Yeah,
like,
it's still not enough time.
yeah, it's still not enough time because basically almost all the events kind of happen around the same time too. So
Mhm.
I literally had to plan out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the lightsaber thing at 9. And
Yeah.
then and then I'll go to the because it was everything on the hour too. It was like 10 o'clock, and then I was like, okay, I'll go to the 10 o'clock Phasma in Tomorrowland, and then 11 o'clock I'll come back I'll buy a lightsaber in between there, and then I'll go back to the lightsaber thing and then join the crowd, because at first I just shot from outside because I didn't have a lightsaber, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not
Oh,
going
is that
in-
when you got the backside of Ray in your video?
yeah.
I was wondering. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, this looks like it's his video, but
backside
it
of
has
Ray.
cuts in it.
The backside of Ray, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I
Hello.
specifically stood there to get the backside of Ray. No, but like not joking. Like I literally did, because I had seen a TikTok video where they had that same angle. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool angle with all the lightsabers going on. Like, I'm gonna try to get that. So, and then on top of that, I didn't have a lightsaber, and it was like everybody had a lightsaber.
You're
That
just
was
like,
what was
yay!
So cool about it. And it was like, oh man, I'm like, I want to get footage of this. I do want to go down in the pit, but I don't have a lightsaber. So like, okay, so that's why I kind of but it was all on the fly. Like I was just like, I didn't know the times. I didn't know all this stuff. So then I was like, okay, I'll go to the first one. I'll get that angle. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta go in the pit. I need to go in the pit. I need to be like raising a lightsaber. So like I went and I bought one, and then instead of like, because everybody had lightsabers, right?
Okay, I have to ask you. I have to ask you. So, what kind of lightsaber did you get?
I know. So I was gonna say, everybody had all the regular standard lightsabers. I was like, oh, I don't want to.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. So they have three kinds of. They have like the fancy ones that you get from whatever the lightsaber experience. They have the ones that are also fancy like that, but they are like replicas of character ones.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have like the more
your own
ones that are plastic, but they're still pretty nice, and they're character ones, right? And then they have the build your own ones, which are like still the old style telescoping flashlight thing.
It didn't look like anybody had the telescoping one.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at that.
What?
Nice.
Were you the only one with the dark saber in the pit?
So like
They're like,
I was telling this to Andy. We had some drinks after the event, after a whole other event we were doing. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, you know, everybody had those, like you said, Andy. Everybody had those lightsabers. They were like decked out. They were like scabbards, you know, like on their backs, you know, like they were like really, really nice. And I was like, man, I ain't got that kind of money. And I was like, I'm already pushing it, buying this ticket, right? But I was like, man, I really want to go in there. So I was like thinking, but then everybody.
Can you only go in if you have a saber?
No, you can't. You can go in there.
Okay.
But I felt like I'm gonna go down in the pit and be like the only guy not holding a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no. I was like, so
why is there that little dark spot there?
Yeah.
Oh, you.
So then I went down and I grabbed, and then I went to the shop, and then I was like, you know what? I want to be different. I want to pick up a dark saber. So I found the dark saber, and it was cheap. It was like you said, it's the plastic one,
like 35.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. It was like 35, and then you know, and then I was like, okay, cool. Everybody else has the regular lightsabers. I'm the only one with a dark saber. I'm going into the pit. There's a little like pocket like towards the front where there's nobody standing. So I jump in and I stand there, and then as soon as I stand and I start looking around, I look to my right, And there's a dude with a dark saber right next to me. So I was like,
they like sort everyone, right? They like sort everyone.
It just literally, it just happened that way. It just
Oh, wow.
literally happened, and we kind of like looked at each other like, you know,
Dark saber
Yeah.
here, purple
Yeah.
one here,
Yeah.
greens
But
in the back.
It was so it was awesome. So I had to do that a lot. And then it was like, okay, I saw the Phasma thing. I just basically went around the park to basically all the sort of like events because I was like filming it, shooting it, and I wanted to say I didn't really get to eat any of the food. I didn't really get to any of the merch, but I just wanted to look and experience. And I didn't even ride any of the rides. I didn't ride. I know they shut down the rides at a certain point, so there was a point where like you could actually ride some of them, but like. I just walked around and it was just like, man, it was just like.
Well, the rides you can ride anytime. You want the experiences, right?
Exactly. So I had.
No offense, Jason.
I had.
No, that's fine. At that point, I'd probably gone on Pirates like 17 times. So I mean, that was my night. I'm like, let's just keep going.
Yeah. But it was so fucking cool. Like, I mean, I've been to so many Comic Cons and everybody's in cosplay, and I've even been to Celebration when they had it here in Anaheim. But man, there's something about. You're in Batu, there's like a life-size Millennium Falcon. They're blaring Star Wars music over all the speakers. You know, even at Tom Sawyer's Island, they were like blasting all this like Star Wars music, and they had like fog going over the water. And it was just like, man, it was so immersive, so cool. It was just like,
That's right. I saw a video where they had the modal nodes performing on the raft.
Yeah.
The Bith musicians.
The Cantina band.
Cantina band, right? So the funny story about that was because of the timing of everything, right? Like I didn't know the timing of the Cantina band. I knew that happened, but I didn't know. Then I looked at my thing right after the Rey lightsaber thing, the last one, and it was like, oh, it's like Rey's lightsaber was like 11 o'clock, and then the Cantina band was like 11:10, 11:15. So you theoretically had enough time to go straight to it, but I didn't realize it till the end. So I walk, and then basically I catch them as they're done, and they're going away, and there's like no music. So basically, the people in the crowd, and I have a little bit of video of it. The people in the crowd were like providing the music. They're like, and it was just like, yeah, man. It was just like little things like that. It was just like, man, to be surrounded by like really just cool, chill, amazing like Star Wars fans, and just like in a really amazing immersive environment where like they had like a lightsaber parade where they followed people down Main Street. They're all like just walking behind Mickey and Minnie in a car, and they're like holding up their lightsabers, and it was just like, and they had a DJ, and then did you tell that, Jason, the DJ, he's like in the middle. And he was playing, and then like at the end of the night, they're playing like Mark Anthony songs, and they're like dancing with their lightsabers, and it was just
and
like,
Darth Maul's doing flips while the songs are playing.
It was just so fucking. It was just so much fun. But
it's playing Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and Vader comes out.
It was really really cool. It was just like, man, it was so well done, and like. Yeah, I can't. Hopefully next year, maybe we can all go together or something. You know, I think it'd just be such a blast.
There's the popcorn bucket.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
That's the one they have like for only on
May the 4th.
May
Yeah,
the 4th.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Andy, they're selling like some kind of like whiskey flight in like in the bar.
Oh yeah, that's the with all of the bantha tooth
Shot glasses,
yeah.
And is that only was that only during Season of the Force or like during Star Wars?
I think they have it regular as well, but they may have had a special like alcohol or drink or something like that for this.
And they had a Grogu sipper. Like it was like him holding the little frog, and then the straw was where the frog was. Yeah,
I have one of those.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you just made your own Grogu sipper. There you go.
I wanted to get. You see that everybody had the little Grogu on their shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to get that. And
a huge ass Millennium Falcon popcorn bucket, which did not get that. It was like,
Yeah, I got it the first time they released it. It's great.
It's
actually,
good size, right?
yeah, it's a good size. Like
Yeah.
if I were a kid, it would fit my action figures just fine.
Yeah.
And also it lights up. Its engines light up. So,
Oh, nice.
It's like sold out though, probably, right?
I don't know.
eBay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's $400 on
they make
eBay.
quite a few. Let's hear what else did they have. Of course, we've talked about the Jabba popcorn bucket, which they also have. I feel like they had another new one this year. I
They had
can't
a bunch
remember.
of food. They had a bunch of food that was like Star Wars themed. I think at like Disneyland Hotel they had a bunch of pastries. Like you get like cookies that look like shaped
Oh,
like
right.
Grogu's head, and they had a Wookiee pie. But
A Wookiee cookie.
yeah, like a Wookiee cookie.
Yeah.
And did you see that? Did you see that?
Made
Jason,
with
or-
real Wookiee?
Yeah,
Yeah,
made
it's
with
all
Wookiee.
hair. It's terrible.
It's all hair.
I imagine it being very stringy.
Very
Yeah.
stringy.
Oh, but
Very
yeah,
stringy.
going back to what you're saying, Jason, about just like all the picture opportunities. I think
Yeah.
again, like I said, like I've been to Star Wars Con, I've been to like, we've all been to cons and all this stuff. You see all these people just, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it's because I think maybe because they're in character too, right?
Yeah.
They're not just like, oh, a person. They're playing that part, right?
Yeah.
So seeing like, I saw Hera, I saw, Chopper, C-3PO is there. It was just
Yeah,
like,
my daughter kept saying, like, because there was a TikTok, like, she's like, you need to find hot Anakin. Go find hot Anakin. And I was like, what are you talking about? And there's like, good looking guy with the Anakin hair. And I was like, I don't know where he is. I can't find him anywhere. But he was just roaming around, I guess saying he had the high ground. I don't know what was going on.
Say that.
But
Yeah,
That's funny because I went to Leap Day at Disneyland where they would do the 24 hours. This was like not
oh
this,
yeah.
like 2 Leap Days ago.
Mhm.
And it was so crowded, and by the time I was really getting anywhere, it was all the ravers who were doing drugs. And so the only thing I was able to do was do character photos. It was the only thing that had a decent line.
But that was
I think this
good,
is
right?
before Star Wars nights though.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was still fun though, right?
I mean, I'm glad I did it once, and I
Yeah.
would probably never do it again.
Yeah, I think I did the 24-hour one too. Like, and we drove
24
from the Bay
hours.
Area, so we got there like when it started, and then stayed up all night. And I was like, "What year is it?" I don't. I was just
As
so
you're
delirious.
leaving, the cast members are just high-fiving you, like, "Dude, you survived. Good
They're
on
also
you."
like, "Get out. We
Yeah.
want to go to bed. We've been here for 72 hours.
That's
Please."
crazy. 24
Now,
hours.
one of the other things that they always do, which is always pretty fun, is that they have the Hyperspace Mountain, which is basically a video overlay of Space Mountain. It's
Yeah.
same track, same ride, but you get John Williams music, and you get TIE fighters and X-wings flying around you, and some really clever use of LED light strips. So it's like you're zigzagging in and out of blaster bolts.
I love that overlay. I think it's so much fun. I
It's
mean,
great.
it
Was
really
only for
is.
Star Wars night, or is that
No,
No,
it's-
they
it's
do it for a
all-
while.
It's for the whole
Okay.
season of the Force.
a season of the Force? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to try
And
to
Star
get
Tours
that.
too had new scenes
Yeah,
that
I did see that. I did see
yeah,
that.
it was we got us what is it?
Purgle.
The Purgles, which I
Purgles.
think is the default, but then we wrote it a couple times and we got Mando and Grogu getting the message, then we got Cassian. And so I think we saying like, "Oh, I'm sending you the coordinates." And
That's what I got. I got that
I'm
was
waiting.
I
I'm
got
waiting for them to add
Cassian.
Lego Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fly through a Lego world. It's like, wow, this is really crazy. It's a multiverse of madness in Star Wars.
Yeah, there's one more message from Ahsoka also.
Yes, that one I didn't see. Yeah, but they
No,
have
I
like
think
where
I
she's
did-
playing. Like, thanks for the help,
Yeah.
Star Tours. Good to see
Yeah.
you, R2. So
I always say
Okay.
I got the Purgle one. I got the Cassian Andor, so I did see Ahsoka. And just like flying through the Purgles was really, really cool.
It was
I
really
remember
cool,
seeing it too. Remember when that scene showed up in the series? I was like, oh, they gotta do this for Star Tours. They gotta do
I would
this.
love to see the fly
Yeah.
through Purgles.
So if you were hired by Imagineering to do another Star Wars overlay of any ride in the park, what would it be?
Oh wow.
Astro Blasters.
Oh, okay, so like replace.
Yeah, but make it all Star Wars, and you have blaster like Star Wars blasters instead of Astro Blasters.
The Matterhorn and just put the snow monster.
Oh yeah, just put the Wampa.
Yeah, just take out Abominable Snowman and put the Wampa in there, and then change
That'd
it.
be good.
And just make them look like little
you-
rocket ships that they already look like. So.
But then you have to ride the Matterhorn.
I know, and then you have to readjust your entire
Painful.
spine. Yeah, no, you're right. That thing is
Painful.
a chiropractor's nightmare. So
Yeah.
it's horrible.
Oh, that's a good
No.
question. I don't know. Maybe you. Oh man.
Captain EO.
Like I guess like you could do like Jungle Cruise and like make it Dagobah and like just change all the animals.
It's just nothing
with,
but like fog and yeah.
I would say that's a lot of work, but look at what they do to Haunted Mansion every year.
Yeah.
I think they did it so well.
Winnie the
honestly.
Pooh.
It was so
No, I'm
good.
kidding.
But then what will people who are on drugs ride?
Winnie the Pooh. They will love it. They'll be like, this ride's never been so awesome. Welcome to Pooh Corner. My mind is blown.
I didn't ride Winnie the Pooh until I like 7 or 8 years ago when we went to not spread my friend's ashes around the park. Anyway, and I was like, whoever created this ride was definitely on LSD.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
I miss country bears.
Yes, by I need to get some honey. Hi.
Oh, Small World, but dress them all up as little stormtroopers and everything.
That would be cool.
There you go. And there's like a little hut.
Oh,
cell
look
that's
at
like
Disney.
small
Let the
world,
first
small universe, and it's like different. Like you go to Camino, and then you go
at the Small World in Tokyo. They're doing a Marvel overlay.
Are they?
Really?
Yeah, and it's a Small World with baby Groot.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wait,
That
like
would be
like
really
like
interesting.
like an overlay or
Yeah.
are they
Like
just
Baby Groot's just gonna
No,
pop up in
an
random
overlay.
places.
Yeah, they're dressing up the characters like Marvel characters, but Groot's in like all the different like lands. And,
Wow.
yeah, they announced it like a month ago.
How did you scoop me on a Disney?
I saw it on WDW
impressed,
News
Jason.
today. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was on a website I follow. So yeah, it was just an image. It hasn't happened yet, but yeah,
That
Groot
would
is
be
coming to do.
adorable.
Yeah, it's a Small World with Groot, is what it's called.
So wait, are they going to show the destruction of whatchamacallit? No. Where Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are from.
Sokovia.
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 Yeah.
Just have like
Sokovia.
Sokovia and
Sokovia
ruins.
and ruins. Yeah.
I mean,
It's this. This was the image they put out. See, Small World with Groot.
Yeah.
And they're gonna put all.
Oh, look at little Thor.
Yeah, and they're
Oh,
gonna dress them
so
all up like Marvel
cute.
characters.
Star-Lord.
It's coming
Of-
at some point
Little
this
Star-Lord.
summer.
that's really funny.
That
Yeah.
is really
Oh my
cool.
gosh, they should
It's gonna
do
be
New
the whole
York with
thing
the
over there.
aliens.
Yeah. It's probably
Yeah.
be just
Okay.
like a portion of
So
it,
then,
right?
so then presumably you put Thor in like the like
Asgard,
Norway?
Norway.
And
Yeah, Norway. Yeah.
Well, you
let's
just
see
do
here.
Asgard.
Well, I mean, like if you're just using the ride as it is, right? So it already has all these countries in, right? So
Boring.
Did you say
Or
boring
or
or
they
boring?
turn
I'm sorry.
Norway
Both.
into Asgard.
Okay.
Right.
Or they turn
New
Norway
Asgard.
into
Norway and New Asgard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you they will. I bet you that's what they'll do. They'll just be like, they'll turn Norway
I
into
mean-
Asgard.
I mean, honestly, it would be an improvement in Africa because it's just
Yeah,
Africa. It's like no
Wakanda?
actual countries. It's
Or
just
Wakanda. Yeah.
Yeah. Russia would be Black Widow, right?
Black Widow.
And
Molotov,
Red
Doja
Red
Rat said,
what's his face?
Molotov Doja Rat said,
I want to go back to Tokyo so
Sokovia.
bad and go to the new expansion. I
Yeah.
watched those ride videos. I'm going off topic, I know, but man, they
Yeah.
look.
Oh yeah,
I'm so
Shang-Chi,
jealous.
China.
Disney Springs looks freaking
It
great.
looks epic. It looks so cool.
Well, in like 10 years, it'll be here at Disneyland. Disney 4.
Yeah, when they close the road. Yeah, I'm glad that passed, but it'll be exciting to see what they actually put
That
here.
would be crazy.
Yeah.
Man,
It
you
looks
know,
like
okay,
Jar Jar is licking your eye, just FYI.
Yeah.
See, ah.
on this note, like the Frozen ride there, the Frozen ride is like so
Oh, yeah.
noticeably like more coherent
Oh yeah.
than like, and of course, even like the Hong Kong ride was better than the
Yeah.
Florida one because they
Yeah.
got rid of the glowing faces.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
wait, is
then-
that the one in Epcot?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Epcot they have glow. We're doing the projection faces, which
Yeah.
were very what they
Weird.
kept doing in the early aughts.
Yeah.
So
But-
they're projecting.
Wait, did
like-
they change
like
the-
LED
they-
projection?
No, they basically create the animatronic and it has full motion, but the face is just a blank projection screen
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the shape of a face.
kind of like what they do
And
on
then they
Haunted
rear
Mansion with
project
the
it. They rear
fortune teller.
project it with animation so that it can emote and whatever like that. But it always just looks weird.
Uncanny Valley. Right?
It looks even worse when it goes out and then you see the Windows error message on their face. That's hysterical.
Did you see that?
We saw that once when we went on it at Epcot a couple of years ago. Like one of the little trolls, the screen face was gone and it just had the little error and the X thing. And I was like, oh my God, that's so disturbing. And so I was like, because it's just a computer program and it just needed to reset. So
Yeah.
but it was
Screen-
Wait, is that
Blue
where
screen
the old
effect.
Viking ride used to be? They
yeah,
turned it
where
into a
Maelstrom
screen
used to
ride?
be. Yeah.
Wow.
Which was
Oh.
such a great ride. It's
It
too
was
bad.
a great ride. I loved that ride. But they
so
had to make way for IP. So
Okay, so here's a little we're totally going off the rails here.
yes.
But okay, so something that I just thought was brilliant. So when I worked with Imagineering a little bit, we talked a lot about the talking Mickey heads. And of course, the talking Mickey head, it's a puppeteered, pre-programmed puppeteered face. Its eyes, blink and the mouth moves and all that. Of course, inevitably it's a computer, so it's going to crash at some point. So they had the forethought to make the startup, like if the startup noise is Mickey going achoo, so that if Mickey ever crashes, and has to reboot, he sneezes, and it's like, oh, that's brilliant. That's like, why does Mickey's face look like he has a stroke? Oh, he was sneezing. Okay.
That's awesome. Awesome. Because they knew it was gonna break. They're like, okay,
Yeah,
we'll make
they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
You-
that's like
you-
hiding the faults, right? It's like
Yep.
it's show
You-
business, right?
You guys, we only have like 10 minutes left to talk about the
Okay, we should-
finale. Just
honestly,
throwing that out
I
there.
love talking about Star Wars Night. Like I really, really loved it. So
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fun.
So that said, yeah, if you're around, you still have a few weeks left that you can go and experience some of the other Star Wars experiences. They still have some food that's not available, or that's just available during the day for the regular kind of Seasons of the Force promotion. So get yourself to the park and check out some of that stuff.
I'll go
All
if
right.
you pay for my ticket.
Let's move on. So we're going to talk about the end of the Bad Batch.
Which I have not seen, but I go ahead and go for it. Spoil away.
Which episodes are we covering here?
just the last one.
Just the
Is
last
it
one.
just the last episode.
yeah.
The cavalry has arrived.
Tracy, do you want to do the honors?
Season
and give us a
series
little
finale.
little
right?
recap?
Oh, good Lord. I haven't watched it in a week. All right, let me see what I can. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, you go ahead if you got some.
No, you say what you were gonna say.
Oh, I was. Well, okay, we can collaboratively source this, right? Okay, so if I recall, the previous episode we had Omega in captivity with the primary kids, and she's like all being secret agent-y and like, hey, I got a plan, and I'm sneaking into the walls, and there's a Zillow beast here, and I know what we're gonna do, right? And the kids
Yep.
are like, oh my gosh, oh,
You want us to do what?
what? Like, what does it take to cover you? And then meanwhile, what's her name? The pilot is taking our Bad Batchers. Oh yeah, they're attached to a Imperial science shuttle,
Right.
and they've hitched a ride on to
Tantus.
onto the planet to Tantus, but they're
Yeah.
discovered.
They're
And they end
discovered
up kind of
they're shot
crashing,
down.
or they come down, they leave the plane and with Rampart,
Right.
right? And
That's right. So
they
they're in the jungle. They're in the jungle.
yeah.
And
Wrecker fights a beast and gets all scratched up.
While Echo is still on the shuttle trying to be incognito as a stormtrooper.
That's right,
Yep.
because
Right.
he ends up connecting with Emery.
Yeah.
And he's all like, how dare you
Yeah.
do
We're
those experiments, clones. You're a
Yeah.
clone too.
Yep. And Rampart gets captured because he runs off.
Captured again. Oh, that's right. And we get a little bit of a face off between him and
Hemlock.
Hemlock.
Yeah. Where Hemlock's like, I'm indisposable. And Rampart's like, oh, really? Let me find out what this is.
That's right. He does
All right.
find out, like, he does find in he sees the information in the database.
Yeah.
Rampart.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm just gonna go through this really quickly
Yeah.
since okay. So Omega puts her plan into place. She knocks out Skulder, but she turns her head to the side so she can breathe. She warns the kids, don't put your fingers on this, and they all go and they release the Zillo Beast. There's some really cool camera changes while the Zillo Beast is getting out. Everybody knows it's Omega's work because, of course. The clone assassins, they are all released by Hemlock. The 99, they recruit all the clone troopers that they refuse to let go, but then all the clone troopers, they pretty much end up dying anyway because they're all red shirts. Echo is teaming up with what's her face? What's her face?
Emery.
Her face?
Emery, thank you. With Emery, we get to see a bunch of the bad guys die. Crosshair gets his hand cut off, but then that releases his psychological barrier of his shaking hand. He's able to make a cool shot again. Rampart tries to get to the secret of what Necromancer is, but Nala Se's already in there, and he tries to threaten her, and she just ends up throwing a bomb and killing them all, which I think means that there's no more Kaminoans left, right? Kaminoans left. They managed to meet up with Omega, but she's on the bridge with Hemlock, but she's got like a needle in her hand, and Hunter's like, wait for it, and she like jabs Hemlock, and Crosshair's able to shoot the handcuffs off of them and then shoot Hemlock. So by Hemlock, then they get to leave, and just as like literally a millisecond after they leave, a bunch of Star Destroyers come in, including an Imperial one, and this is probably the first time in canon that we see the Imperial Star Destroyer. Tarkin gets out. He's like, man, Hemlock sure was a fuck up. And then he's like, we're going to take all the funding away, and it's all going to go to Project Stardust, which of course is the Death Star. So there's no more Necromancer until the Shadow Council and Mandalorian. Maybe the base ends up with Thrawn because the Zillo Beast is now on the loose, right? Then we go back to Babu. The primary kids are there. The other clones are there. Emery Carr decides that she's going to go off with Echo to like help to talk to Chi-Chi? Who's the blue senator gal?
Senator Chuchi.
Chuchi, thank you. And the Bad Batch is going to try and find all the kids' homes, but Hunter doesn't look super convinced that the families are still alive, but we don't even get into that. Then we flash to the future, and Omega's like an adult now, but Hunter knows she's up to something, and so he's like in the cavern where they met what's her face?
Stars Ventress.
Thank you. And she's like, I gotta do this. I gotta go fight with the rebellion. And he's like, okay, just be safe. And she like takes off with Gronky and Tex goggles and her little Tuca doll and flies off into the moonset. And we get rousing music and then nice little piano music. Ta-da!
Well done. So what did you guys think of the wrap up of the series?
I was sad that Tech didn't come back as an assassin and they didn't rescue him, but other than that, it was fine.
I was, yeah, there were a couple of things where, like, and granted, like, we as a fandom have been wrong before, or picked up all the bait of all the red herrings, or, saw things that weren't there. But I gotta say, like, I found it satisfying. I was surprised, but I was surprised how many things didn't happen. Like, I was surprised no one died, because I was really expecting, like, Bad Batchers to die.
Yeah.
Like, even there's something even about how that epilogue is framed, where it's like, I could see an edit of this where both Wrecker and Crosshair didn't make it out, and it's, and it really was just Omega and Hunter.
Yeah. I would say overall, I think it was very good ending. I mean, it left a lot of questions for me. I thought they were going to wrap up a few things, answer a few more things, but just that epilogue alone was like, I got caught in my feels,
Yeah.
and I'm really surprised at how much I've really come to care about Omega and the Bad Batch and their little family.
And I mean, and the clones as a whole,
and the
right?
clones as a whole. But even then, just like them as a family unit, like I became really, surprised by that, so seeing that, and to the point where, like, I even bought, like, one of the Sirius Black Omega the figurines. I'm gonna try to get the rest, eventually. So yeah, that last one, and then just the fact that, she did say, she's got to show up in Rogue Squadron. Like, I mean, that's just like, she literally says, "Oh yeah, the rebellion needs pilots," and then she takes off, and it's like, well, we do know that Patty Jenkins is working on Rogue Squadron still, right? Yeah. So she's gonna show up in live action, and she's a great character. I mean, yeah. I know she's a really, really good character, and I'm just, so I would say that, and I think, I mean, you could kind of tell where it was just like, they probably had at least 2 more seasons planned, but with all the Disney cuts, they were just like, what, wrap it up.
It seemed a little rushed, a little.
Yeah.
I think they did the best they could with the time constraint, but it did feel a little rushed.
I was also just really surprised that they didn't bring the thread back with Rex, right? Like, that we didn't see Rex and his team kind of backing them up. But I mean, we got a Zilla Beast, so I can't complain. So.
Molotov Dojarat said, he reminded me, he's like, I love that it's definitely Omega line.
Yeah.
They're like, is this their work or Omega's work? And I'm like, no, it's definitely Omega.
It's definitely Omega.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised with the happy ending too, but that's what I tend to really like. I tend to like things wrapped up with a bow, which is why I like, Return of the Jedi. I tend to like the final installments of series, because but so yeah, it was nice to see that Wrecker lived, right? Because she mentioned, we don't see him or Crosshair in the epilogue, but she says to Hunter to take care of them and Batcher was in the epilogue. So we know that he lives a long, happy life. We see Pabu is expanded on.
Also, just really cool way to wrap up his arc, right? The whole thing with how he's expressing his trauma is the he gets the shakes on his hand, and now he just loses his hand, which is both like, okay, so now he doesn't have to deal with that one anymore, but also it's kind of like, it's a physical, well, it's a physicalization of this ongoing theme of, you don't have to be defined by your job anymore, right? Because before they were always soldiers, and the lesson in the last season that we saw Tech and Hunter and Wrecker go through is, maybe there's a life beyond being a soldier, which is a lesson that Crosshair did not have. And so now he literally has, like, the symbol of his being defined as a sharpshooter, removed from him, right?
Yeah. And that's also keeping the Star Wars tradition of somebody losing a hand.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Or an arm.
I mean, he'll just get another.
They just get another. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it was also, it was good. It was like, yeah, his arc was really surprising to me. I really enjoyed his arc. The redemption arc. I think a lot of times in a lot of series, some redemption arcs are just really too forced. Like I'm looking at you, Ted Lasso. With Nate, I think that was just too. Anyways, when we get it, but yeah. So I think that was really. I think that was really good. I think the other thing, like we were saying, with more questions that I had was, I really did think that they were going to try to tie a little bit more into like what Grogu, the experiments with Grogu.
Sure.
And I think that I really did think that we talked about this several times about how we thought like, okay, they're using this to kind of like retcon and provide a common theme to explain how Palpatine came back, right? And
well, and Molotov says, I really hope she ends up in a live action series, and that could potentially tie it all together too.
True. Which I've been saying from day one. They cast Emery with the actress from Whale Rider and Game of Thrones and all that. So she's there. She's right there.
Keisha Castle Hughes.
Yeah.
Put a blonde, throw a blonde wig on her.
Yeah.
And again, that's the thing, right? Okay, so more like kind of like full circle things. One, very cool to see, like if you remember, like in the first season where it's the Bad Batch in the mess hall with the regs, and the regs are like, oh, you're not like us, you're different. And of course, the full circle moment is they free all these regs, and they're like, you're one of us, we're not leaving anyone behind, right? So it's like now the Bad Batch are even like accepted amongst their clone peers. Also, I had forgotten about the episode where Hera guest starred and befriended Omega, right? So it's like, so that's another point of connection, whether they decide to bring Omega into like the Ahsoka series and do some follow up with like the Thrawn versus Hera of it all. And she can be a squad leader there, or if they have her do Rogue Squadron,
she can guide them to Tantus, where Thrawn has a stronghold. Yeah,
that's true, because I mean they could still go back and have Thrawn dig up Tantus again like it was in the books.
Yep.
And that would make Omega an important contributor. That's cool. Actually, I hadn't thought of that.
Did you? Question for you guys. What did you guys think about Asajj Ventress? Now, because it seemed like, she showed up, but didn't really go anywhere.
It seemed like fan service a little bit, but I'm not mad about it. But it did seem like fan service.
I mean, the episode to me felt like a soft pilot, right? But it was like, okay, so but then they clearly decided, okay, they're not going to send Omega down the Force user path, which I think is good, because there's so many freaking Force sensitives that survive now. It's like, but I do hope that means that they will revisit the path, and where the primary kids end up, and the Ithorian kid that like Ahsoka rescued in Rebels, and I mean there's so many like little like younglings that they've like teased at in various media, right?
Yeah.
Even the video games, the Cal Kestis has his little faction too.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting how they go from it. But I agree with you, Andy. I do think that there's certain parts of it that did feel like sort of like setting up a potential another series, right? Or potential other stories, which I mean they always do anyways, right? Like they always try to tie everything together. But I think also, with the news of Iger coming out and saying that they're going to be cutting down the Marvel stuff, I'm wondering if they're going to be doing that also with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where like,
I mean, it's weird though. This will be the first time that we don't have a Star Wars animated series on the docket in right? Like after this, there's nothing that's been announced, right? On the
Nothing.
animation side.
Nothing that I'm aware of. Yeah.
So hopefully they've got something ready for us when they get to D23 later this year. But
Oh yeah, that's true. You guys are going to that, right?
I'm
yeah,
not.
I'll probably go to that. But
Too expensive.
Yeah, it was too fucking expensive, but Disney needs my money because they're poor.
small indie company.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm just trying to help them out, I mean, I really want to see that Snow White reboot.
They need our support.
So,
Right?
but oh, Disney.
all right. Any final thoughts on the Bad Batch?
Uh,
Go ahead, Tracy.
well, let's see. Molotov's got some cocktails. Cocktails.
That was
Molotov's got some
nice,
comments.
nice.
Where's my brain?
You read what you wanted to read. It's okay. That's exactly what.
He said, oh, ha ha ha, so true. Gotta hand it to them about the hand comment. Good to see Wrecker actually wreck some bad guys. Omega be perfect for a Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Death Star moment. Or she pops up in a clinch move to help the hero finish off Thrawn. I really like that last one, that she would pop up at the end to help finish off Thrawn. So, nope, other than that, I say good ending and let's call it a night.
All right.
I do think, yeah, real quickly. I enjoyed it very much. I think it was a very good ending. Like I said, I really did come to really love them as a family unit, and got a little teary eyed there at the end. And I'm sad that there's going to be no more, but obviously, looks like she'll be showing up again somehow, in some way, in one of the
3 seasons and a movie.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for that. Excited to see her in Rogue Squadron.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So that's our show this week. So thanks for joining us here on a random night. We're doing Tuesday where we normally do Mondays. We of course have the Acolyte, which is starting in June 4th, so we'll definitely be around to cover that once that hits the old streaming devices. And of course looking forward to Skeleton Crew, which will be in December. And of course Andor is sometime early next year, I think is still out there. There's also the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which is I think set for a 2026 release. Really curious what that ends up being about, right? Because that kind of shifts the storytelling in terms of how they lead up to the Dave Filoni movie, of course, right? Which is presumably where they'll culminate the Thrawn storylines there. And of course, no word from on the Lando show or the Taika Waititi show or Droid Story. Whatever happened to Droid Story? But there's all these things that are out there in theory somewhere. As Lucasfilm continues to develop. But thank you for joining us here on the Geekish Network to talk about all of this stuff, and we'll continue talking about this stuff. Follow Geekish Network on YouTube, Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us on future Monday nights. Thanks on the flight deck to Rodney, and of course my fellow host, all of you here. We are the Pod Squadron. Please like and subscribe. Check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All the podcast subscriptions are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I am Tracy, also known as Hot Nerd Girl on all the things.
I am Jason, BeyondForever.net, Beyond Forever Studios, everywhere else.
And I am Rodney at Rodney Cahuto on Twitter, Instagram, and also Geekish Network. I'm on the account all the time. So if you see some posts from Geekish Network, it's me.
And then, of course, come back. You have Geek Beast on Wednesday and Friday later this week. You also have on Thursday, you have Trek Table, and there's some interesting stuff. On Friday, on Friday, they've got some interesting stuff to talk about with the final season of Discovery as that has shaped up. Have you watched any of Discovery this season, Tracy?
Not yet. I still have to watch the new Doctor Who too.
Oh yeah, it's a good season.
I have to.
Discovery's good. It's a mystery.
It's too bad that I really feel like they've kind of caught their stride with this season, and it is of course the
same thing would happen with Enterprise. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and Lower Decks, but
yeah.
What can you do? Anyways, all wings return to base. Course laid in, prepared to make the jump to light speed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on our own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
Good night.
May the force be with you.
Happy birthday, George.
Happy birthday, George.
Happy May the 14th.
Happy May the 14th be with you.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Happy birthday, Brett. Okay.